So here I am making a video at the last minute again. But what I want to talk to y'all about is why you're nervous when you're talking to these women, fellas. And it's very simple, actually. I want you to think about it this way. Do you get nervous talking to your siblings or your parents or coworkers that you worked with for a year, or the old lady on the corner? The answer is probably not. And the answer is, the reason for that is because you don't care. You don't really care about the outcome. The outcome doesn't make you nervous. And more importantly, excuse me, I'm getting tongue-tied. More importantly, you're comfortable. So that's really what it boils down to. Like, people always talk about, you need to have confidence. You need to have self-confidence. Confidence, it's another word for trust. Self-trust. You trust yourself. If you're self-confident in your ability to, drive a car at 150 miles an hour, you don't have a problem speeding. You trust yourself to be able to handle that properly. Same as anything else. So it's not, you stop looking at it as needing self-confidence. You need to be comfortable. So why aren't you comfortable? This is where the root of the problem is when you're talking to women. Why isn't it that you're comfortable talking to women? And if you're not, odds are you're actually a good dude. Because I don't know if y'all have noticed this or not, but a-holes are very good at talking to women randomly and openly. And the reason is, quite simply, is they don't care about the outcome. You know what I mean? This which brings me to what I just said. They don't care about the outcome. They have pretty much put women into a box of, this is a piece of pussy, ignoring the entire experience of a woman. So if you look at it that way, if you look at it that way, it's like, then why would they be nervous? You know what I'm saying? This piece of pussy turns them down. They're just talking to another piece of pussy. Now, does that mean that you need to look at women as a piece of pussy? Absolutely not. I don't even use that term myself usually, unless I'm just trying to be a dick or trying to be funny. But like, I don't get pussy. I have sex with women. You know what I mean? I understand that there's a whole woman there, and she deserves respect. The same as any other human being. But here's the thing. Now, if you're extroverted or introverted, this is going to increase or decrease the level of difficulty the solution is in your comfort. Now, I think, honestly, that I am a natural introvert based off of the way I was growing up. But I noticed that me being withdrawn, I was not getting the results that I wanted. So I forced myself to act extrovertedly, to be louder. But like I find myself in my adult life, a lot of times, like, just getting in a bubble to myself. So I don't even really understand where my true personality lies. But here's what you have to do. If you're an extrovert, it's kind of easy because you practice talking to everyone randomly. So, like, let's say there's a woman that you're not interested in that you see on the same cereal aisle. Then you Hey, is that cereal any good? You see you're picking some cereal. Hey, is that cereal any good? Oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. You know, dang, we got too many choices here in America. Yada, yada, yada. You practice talking to women when there's no stakes. You practice talking to people. Like if you can't talk to any woman, you know, start with men. Start striking up conversations with men. Because you don't want to be in a situation where you're not used to talking to anybody, and your first time trying to talk to somebody is when it's somebody that you're really interested in and you want to make a good impression, and you can see this becoming something, because that is going to make you nervous as freak. Like that's why you won't have self-confidence. It's because you don't trust yourself with the outcome, because you have no experience talking to people in general. So why would you trust yourself? Why would you have confidence in yourself when trying to talk to this woman you're actually trying to impress? You get what I'm saying? Like, what makes you think that you're able to talk to this woman that you think is beautiful, and, you know, the way she carries herself or whatever you've seen her? What makes you think that you can handle yourself in this conversation with her when you've never freaking done it? You get what I'm saying? So that's the battle that you're going to face. That's why it's important you're building your comfort while you're building your confidence, your trust in yourself, because you're practicing talking to people, and then women in general, when there's no stakes. So when the stakes are higher, it might be more tension there, because you do understand the stakes are higher, but you've practiced it so many times before. You've done it so many times before. You got this. Now, if you're introverted, yes, it's going to be tough for you, buddy. I'm not going to lie. I've said this before in different videos. It's going to get to the point where you're going to have to just kind of be the best man you can be and hope they come to you. But in environments where you can get to know women in more personal level, and I'm about to say stuff that I don't recommend, but when you're introverted, your options are very limited. I don't recommend messing with coworkers, but it might be one of those situations where that coworkers, women you see at the gym, women that go to your church, women. If you're an introvert, you're probably not in many social groups because you're introverted. But where you do go out and you do see people, and these women that you do see and talk to and interact with on a regular basis, that's going to be your comfort zone. So, you know, and really, it's going to get to a point where you might have to suck it up and start talking to people. And I honestly, like I said, I think this is how I developed my personality, because sometimes I swear I get into my introverted bubble. And I've thought about this many times, reflecting over my childhood and even a lot of times in my adulthood, where I've noticed myself getting into crawling into like an introverted shell, where I'm like, wow, what's wrong with me? And like sometimes I think I'm just defaulting to my my original personality. But like I said, growing up, I noticed, like, I always studied people. I always looked at, you know, people. I went from pre-K through 12. I went to 9 different schools, and up until up until 7th grade. When I hit 7th grade, I was on my 8th different school. I was on my 8th school at 7th grade. So yeah, I did. You know, I was always the new kid, and I was always, I didn't have that base of friends that most people have. So if I wanted friendships, which I did, I had to force myself out of my comfort zone. I know that I wasn't going to get anywhere being quiet, because a lot of times when people already got their friend groups, they don't reach out to you. You have to reach out to them, and it's uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for me, but I did it. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. Any other questions you may have, I'm gonna do this thing where, comment the questions that I have in the comments, I'm going to start answering with a short, and it'll be a way for me to create new content and engage with you, in a way I like better. Anyway, hope this helps. I'm going to do better next week. Uncle Step Bro out.